we talk a lot on this stream about violence, okay? Violence is a part of life here for modern America and honestly for basically all of human history. And when it comes to violence in this country, a very specific type of violence that we talk about here is political violence, all right? And the thing is that there's this one group of people who do political violence, okay? The main group of people who do political violence, all right? There's just one. And honestly, I have to say, is very curious because despite making up only 6% of the population, far-right agitators make up over 50% of the political violence in America. And this is true. This is 100% true. I can show you right now here in this graphic that was put together by the Investigative Fund. Through 2008 and 2016, right-wing terrorist attacks on civilians that were able to be identified with a political ideology showed that right-wing terrorism was by far overshadowing all other political terrorism in this country, even the dreaded Muslim terror attacks. Yeah, how are you gonna explain 650? Actually, it's about it's almost 660. It's over 50%. But if you do the numbers here with the amount of terrorist attacks, from the total amount of terrorist attacks that could be labeled with a political group versus how many of those were right wing, it actually comes up to 58%. So we could basically say 60%. So 660, 660. How are we gonna explain the 660 number? All right, it's a very interesting question, and I think that it all comes down to just conservatism. Okay, we've seen that conservatives love their violence. Okay, and I'm sorry if you don't like that, but it's 100% true. The right has been fueled on violence for a very long time. If it's from back in the day with like lynchings in the Deep South to the shootings of like Christ Church and synagogues and the black church shootings today, things like that. The terrorism, real terrorism from the right has been growing exponentially since 2016. And this has been fueled off the back of just regular conservatism. All right. And I can show you a video here of what someone went through while they were standing in Arkansas holding a Black Lives Matter sign. Let me show you this video.
Have a little pride in your race, brother. White pride worldwide. I wouldn't say after dark, man.
Honestly, dude, you have balls of steel because you could get hospitalized by some guys that want to beat your ass.
No, I'm not sure if I can here, let me take away my webcam for a second. Whoops. Let me take my webcam for a second so you can read all of the text. But
Been gone.
Okay, come back.
Yep.
We matter too. You're a white man. Crazy.
there you go. There's what? Wow, they got the whole thing. They got the whole shebang out there. They've got. Hey, you're white. What about white people? And then they throw out a Jewish racial slur. Okay. This is what the current right looks like. All right. And I know a lot of people will say this isn't indicative of the whole right. I'm going to say it is, for the simple reason that conservatism in this country right now is fueled on conspiracy theory. All right. And conspiracy theories have always been associated with violence. Okay. From the Great Replacement to Pizzagate to all of the things in between to QAnon is what we're dealing with right now. Conservatism has been massively embroiled in so many conspiracy theories. All right. And with that being said, you give a lot of people reason to commit crime. All right. And it's not that big of a jump. It's really not. People say it is. It's absolutely not. we can just look at the president of the United States. Let's look at Donald Trump for uno momento, okay? Let's look at Donald Trump for 1 second. So what has Donald Trump done? So one of the big things that he did recently is try to call Antifa a terrorist organization, okay? And what that does is set the groundwork for a lot of right-wing people to say our country is literally under attack. The streets are crawling with actual terrorists trying to destroy the country. And doesn't that sound like a recipe for people to like act out in violence? Doesn't it? It sounds like it to me. And honestly, it sounds like it to a lot of people, because Trump has spent a lot of time in his presidency inciting violence. He really has. I mean, let's take a look, you know? Remember this great quote, when the looting starts, the shooting starts? I mean, by who, you know? And then the White House comes out, the president is not glorifying violence. He clearly condemned it. Really? When the looting starts, the shooting starts? When he's talking about general protest in around the George Floyd killing and police brutality, the Black Lives Matters, all those protests as well? Really? Really? And this one as well, liberate Virginia. He's speaking like he's talking about a third world country. Liberate the state and save your great Second Amendment right, which is under siege. Now, I don't think you have to jump very far to say that this in and of itself is like, yes, point A, liberate your state from, I don't know, like a terrorist group, maybe the same terrorist group that he's been talking about ever since these protests started. Your Second Amendment right is under siege. And he's been doing the Second Amendment thing for a while. You know, where's the other one where he was like, where is it? Oh, here when he's like, please don't be too nice to suspects, not even people who've been convicted of anything. All right. Not that would make it better. Literal like suspects. You're taking in someone for questioning. And Donald Trump was endorsing actual police brutality. Throw them in rough. Don't be too nice, you know? Talking about how citizens should take up guns as well against like his political opponents. Shoot somebody. I could shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose votes. And it's just true. He could, I 100% believe he could shoot somebody and he not lose any votes throughout this entire coronavirus pandemic. All right. Where about 90, where like, we have we just crawled over as this recording, 150,000 deaths in this country due to the coronavirus. What did people say? How were Republicans taking it? Oh, it's all the Democrats' fault. It's all the Democrats' fault. You know, they shut down the country to hurt Donald Trump. They'll do anything, they'll say anything, and they'll believe anything through their, I'm not even sure if I want to call them echo chambers. It's just like a massive ball. It's like a black hole. It's so dense. It's like a black hole of stupidity. Light can't even escape its event horizon. Nothing that goes into right-wing media comes out anywhere near resembling anything that it came in as. All right. And Trump has been in connection with 54 cases of inciting violence, threats, or alleging assault against his political opponents. When you set the groundwork for it to just be normal to incite violence against your political opponents, obviously people are going to go around and do violence against their political opponents. All right. Since 2016, incidents involving white nationalists, nice to see you, Soul. Incidents involving white nationalists recruiting people on college campuses have increased by over 300%. The FBI and other government agencies have had to start to look into white nationalist, great replacement, far-right agitators in the military, in the police, in the federal government, okay? These people are really getting around and they're really trying to start something. And I mean, obviously they are, because we already set the groundwork for them believing that there's nothing else left to do. I mean, massive conspiracy theories have been going around about how, like, just remember, you know, the black agenda, okay, the gay agenda, the democratic agenda, the PC agenda. You put these people in this condition where they feel like they're assaulted on all fronts, and at any moment in time, a femboy, nose ring, pink haired, like jackbooted, AR-15 holding, gender studies thug is going to kick down your door and shoot your beautiful blonde-headed baby girl in the throat for, I don't know, saying all lives matter or something. Like, this is what they genuinely believe. They unironically believe that they are so far under attack that violence is all they have left. And we only can see this with the recent attacks that have been going on protesters and the responses to that. Let's take a look here. This is back when Summer Taylor was killed. Summer Taylor, because they were non-binary, was a protester in Seattle. They were on a closed intersection on the highway. Someone came in. What's up, Chucky? Nice to see you. Someone rode on the off-ramp, drove past cars that were being used as blockades, and hit 2 protesters, killing 1. And here's what people had to say about that. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Wow, incredible. Race baiting. Look, the guy who actually did it was black, so actually there's nothing wrong going on here, right? That's what you get for standing in the highway. What? Reports failed to mention that the person was black. She was a terrorist. And this is what I mean. Straight from Donald Trump's head to these guys' mouths. They think they're terrorists. So, if you think your country's being infiltrated by terrorists left and right, what is there left to do? Act with violence. And if you aren't the one who's acting with violence, you sure are going to support the people out there doing the violence, doing the shootings, doing the killings. And we know this because we also can see another one. I'm not going to talk about this situation yet. I was able to talk about Summer Taylor's passing. I can't talk about this one just yet because there's just information churning at all points in time. My hair is looking extremely good. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I just got a haircut. Thank you so much. The story is changing at all points in time, but there are facts starting to settle by the shooter, by the police, and by independent investigative reports. So this is the case of Garrett Taylor. Now, Garrett Taylor was someone, wait, I'm just going to put this on the screen for right now. Garrett Taylor was someone who attended a protest in Austin. Protesters started to cross the street when the light was red. They were crossing the street, the light turned green. Someone drove through the intersection, almost hitting protesters, driving into a massive crowd of protesters. Now, the entire intersection was full of protesters crossing the street. This person drove directly into the protesters, all right? So was surrounded by them because he drove into them, and then fired 3 shots into Garrett Taylor, who was pushing his quadriplegic fiance, who was thankfully not hurt, but sadly lost her fiance. And this person was killed. And as soon as they were, the right started making up lies. They started making up conspiracy theories about what happened to this man. What did he do wrong? What could he have done? Here's what these protesters walking in the street, blocking traffic. There's a green light. The car rounds the bend in an opening. Now, I can't show you the video because someone was shot. All right. I don't want to get banned for this video, but he was walking across the street, pushing his girlfriend in a wheelchair. All right. And now they're talking about how the guy with the AK-47 opens fire, thinking the car is hostile, and the guy in the car returns fire. This is not true. This is 100% not true. What really happened was, and here's another angle. I think we're going to see like the car come over like this way. We'll like skip forward a little bit. Skip forward. Here it is. So this entire intersection is full. This guy drives into the crowd, has to stop because he drives into an entire crowd and then opened fires into the crowd. Garrett Taylor never raised his weapon. Not only does the person who did the shooting, who was obviously released by police, who did the shooting, says that Garrett never raised his gun. He also said that he was the one who fired first. But the right is going on a massive conspiracy play to try to spin this as hard as possible to make it so another terrorist Antifa protester, a threatened, a law-abiding citizen, was gunned down. They're making memes about it. They're going through like the whole thing. There was actually someone who said that they're glad that he died because he threatened the truck that the guy was walking in. He didn't want his truck to get dirty, so he's glad that he got shot. They want you dead. They want you dead. All right? They do. The right wants you dead. They don't want their political opponents to exist. I don't want my political opponents to exist, but I don't want them shot dead. I want their opinions to change. They've been deluded to the point where they feel like they're losing their country. Every single day, we slip further into degeneracy, and the gay agenda, the great replacement is coming. Everybody is against the white man, and we must fight back. We must do something. Someone must do something, all right? And it isn't just coming from them in their echo chambers, all right? It's coming from the top down. You know Tucker Carlson? You ever heard of this guy, Tucker Carlson? Because I've heard of him, sadly. Tucker Carlson is one of he is the largest political talking head in the country, arguably on the planet. And because of that, he has an extreme amount of power, and he has an extreme amount of prejudice in what he covers, and he has an extreme amount of draw. He has extreme amount of control to about like right-wing discourse in the country. And how does he use it? All right. Well, we can tell you how he uses it. Let me bring up something real quick. Here's Tucker Carlson, where he described Iraqis as semi-literate primitive monkeys. All right. He said Iraqis don't behave like human beings, and he has zero empathy for Iraqis and their culture. Back in May 2006. Remember when he was like, immigrants make our country dirtier and more divided? How he echoes great replacement theory. He gets on average of 4 million views on a single night. He is the 9 p.m. slot on Fox News every night, and this is the sort of things that he espouses. Ben Shapiro, let's go to our good old friend Ben, all right? Don't we love Ben Shapiro? Because I certainly don't. Ben Shapiro, who says that Jews love to build and Arabs like to bomb shit and live in open sewage. Ah, yes, thank you so much, Ben Shapiro. How about when Ben said that he has remember when he said that he doesn't care about an Afghanistani life? He just doesn't. He said that he's fine with any Afghan civilians getting killed in the Middle East because their lives are worth less than an American life. This is rampant dehumanization going on through the right. This is how they get their political messages across, by dehumanizing their political opponents to the point where their lives are worth less than yours, and their lives are worth less than animals. They are to be killed. All right. And their deaths are not to be mourned because they are trying to destroy you. And they're just trying to destroy our great Christian conservative country. And they're trying to destroy your wife being barefoot, pregnant with quadruplets, making bacon in the kitchen every day before you go to your menial like desk job. You know, this is what they care for. This is what they do. And because of that, this leads to a lot of conservatives being fine with just the death of their political opponents. Remember back when the whole like wall thing, Remember back when the whole wall was getting passed? Remember that? Remember what was that? That Fox News interview. I didn't pull it up. There was like, I think either like Fox News or MSNBC went into like a diner in Texas and asked a bunch of people how they felt about migrants dying at the border, and kids in cages and everything, starving and living in like literal sewage, and not having adequate access to showers and beds and the bathroom. Remember how how that was happening? They went into a diner. They asked those questions. And they said, stop showing me kids in cages. Stop trying to make me feel remorseful. I don't care about that. I don't care about their death. We should kill them. We should line up guns on the border. We should line up guns on the border and shoot them as they try to cross. This is just what the right believes. This is the sort of things that they're pushing. This isn't just some wild fringe minority of conservatives. This is just how they think. Discrimination was always a part of the game plan. Discrimination is how they make it work. Trump knows, and Trump has said that stoking the fires of white identity politics makes for good politics, riles people up. That's just what happens. We saw what they said there. There was more in that video where the guy was holding the BLM sign in Texas. People threatened to kill him. Random human beings on the street drove by, found him, and threatened to kill him if he didn't leave. And even called him a race traitor for thinking that like Black lives matter, because they don't. Black people are this like evil, I don't know, the black agenda, I don't know, maybe they're gonna make all of our kids listen to hip hop and wear their pants saggy or something. I'm not sure. I'm really not, because conspiracy is just how these people work. It's just rampant misinformation that makes any sort of item. Now, it doesn't matter what happens. Like I could just be sitting here talking about like video games, and like some random person could like military dolphin dive through my window and unload 50 billion rounds into my sternum. And then like people, and then like on Twitter, these people, and like out in public and on like TV and stuff, they'll be like, yeah, I don't know, black agenda, I don't know, get everybody to listen to Lil Wayne or something. Maybe that's the black agenda, I don't know. They'll be like, look at this Antifa terrorist plotting his next video attack on the great white majority in this country, which is being replaced by subservient, I don't know, subhuman, illiterate monkey people from the third world. Import the third world, become the third world, type thing. And they think that they're being attacked. So the obvious response is to attack back with their own violence and or support more violence in the streets. Here's one person walking around with an AK playing soldier, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. This is referring back to Garrett Taylor with them. This is what I mean when I say the right doesn't care about free speech. This is one of the many things that I mean when I say they don't care about free speech. They don't. They want you dead. And their wild conspiracy theories will lead them to believe that anything that they say will allow that violence to be justified in their own heads for whatever reason. Remember when Heather Heyer died, when she was killed by that white nationalist guy in the car at the Charlottesville rally? Remember how where lots of people on the right were like, oh, she actually died of a heart attack, which what really happened was she was hit by a car and suffered cardiac damage and her heart stopped. So I mean, technically every death, yeah, but also technically every death is because your heart stopped. It doesn't mean anything. Trying to shift blame away from the dude who ran a car directly into a line of protesters, calling the protesters like violent terrorists, justifies that woman's death. Rest in power. They don't care. They don't care who you are. They don't care where you are. They don't care what you're doing. If you don't acquiesce to their political goals, they want you dead. Then not only will they want you dead, they'll make lies about you when you die. And once you're dead, and after they're done making lies about you dying, they'll use your death to co-opt their own political agenda by weaponizing your story to call like everybody on the left getting like people killed in the street because they don't know when to stop. Can I pull this clip up again? There's a video. There's like a video that I didn't want to go over, but was absolutely atrocious. Forgot the dude's name. Not sure if I can really find it at the moment. If I can like look like super quickly. If I can find it. If not, that's fine. I may not be able to find it right now. Their echo chambers are absolutely impermeable to facts and reason. Honestly, this is kind of why I'm starting to get on like the Destiny train of, I found it. Starting to get on like the Destiny train of, we just need to ban like all misinformation. I'm glad Twitter has been taking so many steps like that to make sure that we can like limit misinformation. The banning of QAnon is so good. Like massive major officials coming out, people in real places of power coming out to say that like they believe in Q and we need to trust in the plan. Like this massive conspiracy theory that they're throwing out that's actually getting people killed in the streets. Really? This needs to be stopped. It has to stop somewhere. You have to ask, all right, where will it stop? Where is it going to stop? I'm going to tell you exactly where it stops. It stops with them either being crushed politically or crushed in the streets. That's the only stop to this. They either have to be abolished politically, or they're going to have to either be snuffed out peacefully or through a long process, or they're going to have to be stomped out. Their embers of their dying ideology has to be dealt with. Now, I'm not saying it has to be dealt with violently. I'd very much like for it not to. But with the way it's going, it's very hard to say that we're going to reach anything resembling peace in this country with statistics like this and them still getting more and more drastic by the year.